Welcome back, everyone, to the Mortgage Heroes Weekly Podcast. My name is Andy.
I'm Brian.
I'm Will.
Okay, guys, today is going to be a fun one. On a long enough time frame, anyone could be right about pretty much almost anything. So, consumer sentiment is up, home prices are up, mortgage rates are up, mortgage applications are down, yet new home starts are up, new home sales are still fetching buyers, and even existing home sales are experiencing multiple buyers again. Are we facing a new normal in real estate and mortgage? Why or why not? Are we facing a new normal?
I think we're facing a new normal.
Okay. Why do you say that? So right out the gate, why?
Right out the gate, we're going to go ahead and just, tackle this one down. I feel that we're in a new normal because transitory has been spoken about for how long now? I mean, it's pretty...
long enough to stop saying it? Yeah.
Exactly. So we now know transitory isn't the case. So we know it's here until, we realize that it needs to come down. It's still not coming down. It came down a little bit.
You're talking about inflation.
Okay. Yeah. So, it stopped. Everything's still expensive. So I feel people are starting to get used to this new level. Why? Because they still have to buy. They still have to spend. They still have to pay for energy. Everything in general, if they want to survive, they're going to have to come up with a way to be able to stay afloat with what's happening.
I like how positive Brian is.
And to that argument, is just like, I'm still seeing multiple offers on houses. We just got beat out by one offer and 14 offers were submitted.
Oh, shoot.
So it's like, whoa. Like, people are still out there. I still see people going out to eat. I still see people traveling. Yeah. So I don't know if people either are just not noticing it or they're just like, hey, things got more expensive. Keep spending. Doesn't matter.
Right.
Right. So I just think at this point, everybody just got used to what's happening, or either they're just going with the flow because what are we going to do about it? What are they going to do about it? They can't say, hey, Fed dropped inflation. Hey, Fed made things least expensive.
Easy.
You know what I mean? So it's kind of like you're with it or you're gonna struggle and you're gonna complain, but you still have to pay.
Yeah.
Well, you know what?
Pay to live.
I'm with you to a certain sense, right?
Yeah, please.
It may be a new normal. I wish it wasn't, because I get a lot of people are still waiting for, hey, when's the market going to collapse? Well, how can something collapse when there's no inventory?
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
Right.
And obviously, again, I spoke about this last week. It's all about supply and demand. Mm-hmm. Simple economics.
Yep.
If there's not a lot of supply, well, there's demand still.
Yeah.
And the people that are buying these properties out there, you can see their income, their dual income. They've probably been in their jobs 20 years now. They're ranked pretty high up there, depending on your purchase price, etc. Mm-hmm. But the fact is, incomes have not gone up, right? So how can this be a new normal at these prices? I don't know that can, I don't know.
I think there's a lot in that statement alone. So sometimes there maybe is a single income source household that now has added a second income, and maybe that second income is more recent, or a double income household that's had to add an additional stream of income, whether it's part-time work or something that's maybe more consultative, like I'm consulting for this or that, short term here and there. Not your traditional W-2 type of every single week, 40-week kind of situation. I think though I think there's this kind of mix of what we've already talked about so far, where there is a new normal that's been established because people are adopting into it, they're adapting into it, because they are buying houses, they're still going out to eat and travel and all that. And you see some of these recovery statistics of like how travel is back in such a big way. And it's not just because, there were lockdowns and people were trying to stretch their legs again. It's like people enjoy traveling. People enjoy going out to eat. And you also have to do the staple stuff, put gas in your car, pay your bills, and buy groceries. So I think on one level, you have more of an economic story where you have to do the things you have to do, but people who are unwilling to separate from the life that they want are willing to pay for that still, even if it's more expensive. And I think that is what's being revealed in the current debt of like credit card balances, how that keeps accumulating higher and higher because
pushing a belly.
We're still spending on all of these things, whether they're leisure or they're necessities. We're still spending on them, again, mostly because they're necessities, but also on the leisure stuff as well, just the discretionary items.
So you brought up a good point, and you said adapting over adopting, right? So if everybody had the option of adopting what's happening right now, nobody would adopt.
Oh, yeah.
But
why?
If you want, exactly.
It's an expensive baby.
It's expensive baby, yeah.
This economy is an expensive kid.
Yeah, it is. Right? But adapting, almost like you said, who can really adapt, right? And the people that have higher income, the people that have multiple incomes. But what I have been seeing these past 2 years, and inclusively since the pandemic hit, when people lost a lot of their jobs, was side hustles. A lot of different types of jobs that they're able to get into, something different from the ordinary W-2 job, or from the regular like salary job. What can people do to basically supplement their income while not risking as much time to then take on a whole new different type of job that completely takes away their freedom? So I think that was a huge thing that we started seeing these last couple of years, where people started betting on themselves, opening up small business, creating brands, or even starting businesses for their own. I mean, our family started one, and I feel that is what also is helping a lot of people generate and still be able to supplement, and then, how do I say, offset the higher prices of certain things. And the ones that don't, well, I mean, you see the struggles. They're losing their houses, or they're losing their jobs and have to digress from their current living situation.
So you're saying it's the S&P in me.
It's the S&P in me. That's the one thing that you can always basically invest in, and you're going to get the return that you want if you believe in it.
To that point, you're absolutely right. I know that this last year I've gotten a lot more creative. As a matter of fact, it's going to be about a year since I went to that one, oh my God. I don't want to say seminar because it wasn't more of a seminar. Workshop. It was more like a workshop, but it was a conference. There you go. Great conference. And it was all about being a technician, right?
Yeah.
So not just being a regular loan officer or regular realtor, like there's more needs to clients.
Yeah.
Sometimes the traditional way of things is just not going to be fit all.
Yeah.
And so we have to identify how we become engineers and how do we get creative in finding a better solution.
I think that's another part of the storyline too, is that you're mentioning it is this idea that we may be temporarily be doing abnormal things that's allowing this to be called the new normal. So this new normal may require abnormal effort. It may require abnormal attention or an abnormal time frame, because this is not the same economy we were in 12 months ago, 24, 36 months ago. It's drastically different. Everyone's making policy changes. Not everyone. The Fed is making policy decisions to try to impact inflation, restore price stability. But even with that's happening, on one side of the table, it can reduce costs by decreasing demand while also increasing costs. And I've seen a lot of conversations recently about used car sales, and like, used car sales prices are plummeting. Well, yeah, the cost to borrow the money is through the roof. Yeah. And it's like, new car, or even new and used cars monthly payments are super high. Yes, because the cost of the money is high. And even if the prices are coming back down, but the cost of the money is going up, it's normal now. And it's normal to have a $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 regular car, where before you're spending $70,000. That's a lot. I saw the brand new Toyota Sequoia, like limited edition, like $75,000. Now I remember when the Toyota Tacoma, or the Toyota Sequoia first came out. Like if you're spending $35,000 on that car, that was the one.
Oh, that's when you have you don't have the leather seats in there, Andy.
Yeah, $75,000. And I was looking another thing. I was looking at heavy duty trucks, like F-250, or even the
Raptor, right? That thing is just.
But how about $100,000 to $110,000 for a Ford F-350?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like that's legitimate. That's
an investment property in a state.
Well, let's not forget, 2019, 2020, 2021, 22 were some of the best markets for a lot of us.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times when you have the money, luckily I learned from 2008, 2009 mistakes. I was able to put myself in a better position this time around. But the fact is, when we're comparing numbers, it's hard to compare numbers to two of the best years that most of us had financially. Yeah. And so it's hard to just kind of go back. Yeah. So I think that's for me, that's what I'm saying. I want to agree with this is the new normal, but I'm kind of disagreeing because I still haven't seen the whole residual effect of what this is going to leave.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I mean, the money that the government just pumped, it just stopped.
Right.
It's not like it's been a couple of years that they stopped. No, they kept feeding and feeding. That's why countries say that our money is toilet paper, right? Yep. It's not worth anything.
Yeah. I feel what this has caused in a whole is to create creativity in the way that you do things. So everything that, from financing to, buying properties, like there's so many different ways to be able to, acquire what you want to acquire without going the traditional route. And in this market where it's not traditional, what options do you have but to get creative? And that's one of the things I have been seeing the most, where it's like, well, what alternative route is there to financing, to buying a house, to buying a car. Like, dude, there's so many different ways that you can get what you want if you have the right structure, the right creativity, and ultimately the right people guiding you to get to where you want to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that level of like tenacity that you're describing is, I think, making the point that some are trying to make, that this is the way a normal market works. This is not a normal market by the classical definition, but the tenacity and the abnormality of effort that we are seeing people take and go to maybe some more extreme lengths to make things work out is actually kind of fomenting this idea that, oh, maybe this is the new normal. There are some things I think that are not normal about our market right now that I would not say are normal, such as like the cost of money. Like I've said before, I don't think it's abnormal to have this much. I think it is abnormal to have this low of inventory. I think that's kind of falsifying some values, in my opinion. Yeah. And we should see more people moving. We should now. I mean, a lot of people migrated and got out when money was cheap, and also because maybe they didn't like the place they're living at.
A lot
whatever.
of people are in Florida right now.
But there's a lot of people who are just going to hunker down and stay put because they're like, hey, I got this cheap money right now. Might as well keep this place.
I mean, do you feel normal?
Do I feel normal?
Do you feel normal?
Weird.
No, look at his hair, man. He's not normal.
I got purple hair.
Right?
Yeah.
Ain't nothing normal about me.
This is normal.
What?
For me, this is normal, man. I've been like this
That's
forever.
average. That's consistent. You know where you're getting.
Exactly.
I might come with pink hair next time. You never know.
So listen, I come here, it doesn't feel normal.
Right.
When I get to work and I talk to partners and stuff like that, the conversation's normal, but we all know it doesn't feel like a normal.
Yeah. Right.
Right? And so we're talking about also, is it normal to actually be challenged to even get as simple as a homeowner's insurance?
Right. That's not normal either. Yeah.
No.
Right? Like, let's think about that. Is it normal now that we're starting to hear a lot of people defaulting on their car loans?
Right.
Not normal. It's one of the highest. Is it normal to hear that credit card debt is at highest peak?
Almost at $1 billion, if not already at $1 billion by the time
you see what I'm saying? It's this
billion.
is
$1 billion
Billion what?
in credit card debt.
Oh, it's way higher than that. But
is that what you have?
Is it?
Is that what you have?
Oh no, it's
personal credit card debt is in the trillions.
It's in the trillions. Sorry, I got the B and the T mixed up.
Yeah,
my bad. It's T, not B.
I hate using that word.
Yeah.
Hey, I was like, one B. That's not bad. Oh, it's
It's not bad.
it's one T.
Oh my God.
So
Sorry, guys.
credit card balances. Yeah.
So it may feel like the normal, but I think people haven't adjusted yet.
Yeah.
Right? Because I'm telling you, I don't feel normal.
Yeah.
I feel maybe there's still more blood to go, and there's still going to be a lot more repercussions to what's happening, because the way that I look at it, I feel is like, is this really it? Like, are you sure this, like, it's not that bad.
Pinch me.
It's not that bad. Because I mean, look at the way the consumers are spending. So look at the consumers, the way that they're still going out and being able to do whatever they want to do, have discretionary spending, and still be able to keep up with the cost of living. I don't think it has hit them yet.
I know.
Or people still haven't got like, oh shoot.
Yeah.
I think
I think they're just running up debt and being like, no, we'll get to it when we get to it. No, this is okay. Like, we could still pay it back.
That crunch is hitting people at different times.
Yeah.
So the crunch has already hit some people economically, and the crunch has not yet to hit others who maybe it's not as hard yet, but I think it hasn't hit yet, but it will.
And if you want to see the crunch, like who it hasn't hit, just go to In-N-Out Burger here on the corner. You'll see how many. It's like a huge line to get a burger, bro. It's
so there you go.
Crazy.
No, but that makes sense, because once people don't have money to spend, they're eating at home, or they're eating very minimal, not luxury like they used to.
Yeah, you'll see it show up somewhere else in the economy.
So one of the things that I was talking to one of my realtor partners the other day was, when we approve by buyers, we're going off their gross income, right? So on paper, it looks like they can afford that payment, but sometimes they have to allocate their budget accordingly to make sure that they could actually make that payment based off their gross pay. So that's also something that I feel people need to take in consideration when being able to get approved. Take that pay, because you get approved for the max under a certain income, but make sure you do have the right allocated funds so that you aren't being maxed out and then now you're house poor. Because I feel that's been one of the current themes that I've seen, where people get into escrow, they're excited for the house, but then that payment really starts to seep in, and unless they have an exit route and a team that could secure their vision and say, hey, this is a temporary band-aid, we're going to do it like this because we got your back, and we're going to make sure that the exit route is just as good as the entry route, that right there, if you don't have that exit route and you don't have somebody that can paint you the picture and give you that reassurance that, hey, we've been through here before, we know how we're going to get you out. It's just about the present moment right now and taking action. Because as soon as rates drop 1.5%, it's going to flood the market like crazy. And then we're going to go back to the same thing where prices are going to be overinflated, which they already are. So we'll never get out of this hamster wheel where we're just going back and forth. Like,
we need builders to build.
You just tripped on the note I wrote here. I
wasn't reading as you were writing, I promise.
As you were talking, I was like, a month's of supply of homes is substantially low. So a month of supply is low.
Here in California, don't even get me started because they have a round 2 of the Cal Half a Dream for All program that's only going to flood the market even more.
It's going to bring more,
temporarily until the funds run.
So even if the previous normal comes back, I literally wrote this. I said, it will bring a new set of, quote, normal variables that we used to know back then too. So where we substitute what's normal now and we go back to what might have been normal before, it'll bring along its friends with it. Just like right now in our advocacy that it might be normal, it's bringing along certain sets of information that is abnormal in its truth.
Yeah, it's bringing some friends, the higher interest rates.
Right, yeah.
A wise friend told me, I digress. A wise mentor told me, choose your poison and pick your heart.
Yeah.
Do you want to get in right now, secure your house, or wait until the rates come down? Yeah, get a little bit of a lower payment, but good luck finding a house. As it already is hard right now, it's only going to be even more difficult. Yep. And then hold on, if you wait a year or two, good luck. Who knows what's going to happen by then?
Yeah.
The best cliche. Don't marry the rate.
Don't
marry the home.
Date the rate.
There's another way, version.
Date the rate. Yeah, date the rate. Oh, and I think we talked about this in a different show too. Where we're talking about how people's approach to how long they're going to stay in a house has changed. Yeah. Sometimes it might have looked good to buy a house for 2 or 3 years, maybe only 4 or 5 years. More recently, but that's not the situation anymore. You're going to buy a place like right now at these prices. Most people that we talk to, they're in it for way longer than 5 years.
It's long term.
They're not looking for
long
short.
term.
Some of the clients that I talk to, I have some that are thinking of wanting to buy a second property that bought back in 2020. Mm-hmm. They're really thinking about it because they want to know, well, how does it look like if I turn this into a rental right now? And especially, let's use an example for a VA client. They want to basically buy a new house, but keep their current VA property. So we said, okay, great. Let's see how much entitlement you have left, and then see how much you can actually rent the house out for with a new loan to see if that even makes sense for you to keep this property as a rental.
To redo their entitlement?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So right now, that's exactly what I'm seeing where sellers are like, hey, well, I could sell it and then go straight into an even more expensive house and maybe struggle to find a house for a couple of weeks, even months.
Absolutely.
Or I could just stay put, maybe rent it out, make some money off of it. But that's one of the reasons what I feel still inventory is not coming out like we wanted to. And up until we start seeing more inventory, prices will start coming down.
Yeah.
But here in San Diego, I don't foresee it dropping like people would like it to, or just a slight dip.
Yeah.
Since you foresee a lot, do you foresee the rates being in the 8s?
Well, I foresee them going up to 8 maybe at one day, coming down, and then hitting back up, and then just going back and forth like they've been like these last couple of weeks. Like we hit 7 last week. We're probably like around 6.5 right now with this past week. Where we
that's
had
for your VA, right? We're still in those low 7s, mid 7s with the conventional side of things.
I think it comes down to two things. That, for me, number one, I think it has a lot to do with 10-year yield, which I've been talking about in the Money Mortgage Minute, where those are kind of attached at the hip, where if you're looking for a general sense of where mortgage rates are or where they're going, look at the 10-year yield. So the 10-year yield at 4 or 4.25% will definitely cause rates in mortgage land to be more near 8, but it may be only temporary if it is, because it has a lot to do with unemployment. And the reason I say that is because the unemployment has a lot to do with the Fed funds rate, and they have at least one more rate hike locked and loaded for July. Everyone's expecting it. They may or may not do one. They may or may not do another one is the most recent thing I read, but they will for sure have one. That could bring 8s. I really doubt it, though, because they don't want to see that either. That would cause even more pain in the real estate side of what they're measuring from a pain perspective, because they told us to expect some pain. We're not yet seeing pain in the labor market that they need to see, which gives them runway to make another rate hike.
Yeah.
So it's possible, but unlikely. I think that inflation is going to take longer than they expect for it to go down. So right now, our prices, our quote unquote elevated prices of consumer goods, I think are going to be around for quite a bit. Yeah. We'll see some sizeflation. Maybe the price stays the same, but the box has less in it. Yeah. If you haven't noticed already, check your cereal box. Some of those have already changed.
Check your Lay's bags.
Check them, because
they've been doing it for years.
The price may stay the same. Instead of like 16 ounces, it's like 15.25. or something like that.
Yeah.
So that kind of stuff I think is normal now, but it's because of abnormal reasons.
The new normal.
Yep. So anyways.
So, Andy, I mean, for the average viewer that doesn't understand why rates went up so much last week, what happened?
So really what you have happening is that the market is showing what the data is showing what the market would think is good information, in that inflation is slowing, and it's slower. So the word inflation means it's growing, but it's growing slower than what they're expecting. That's number one. And jobs are coming in super hot. So because there's a lot of labor and there's jobs still being filled, the assumption is there's still going to be money to chase goods and services in the market. And because of that, then people can afford the mortgage rates are at, and maybe even afford a little bit more. But the Fed's going to come in, and the Fed's going to smack them in 2 weeks. The Fed's going to smack them and go, boom, rate hike. Let's see what you do now.
Dollar menu.
Listen, I agree with you. I go over here, strolling around by the restaurant. They're packed.
Yeah.
They're packed. Oh, wait 45 minutes.
What the heck?
Yeah.
Does anybody cook around here? So, I hear you. Everything's packed.
Yep. So,
but to this point, if you're hearing this right now and you can make a future decision to plan right now, you're going to be in a better position, because this is still very, very, very early. But we've been speaking about it literally, I feel like every show, but take the time to create a plan. That's all I'm going to say. Take the time to create a plan, because we're not out of the woods yet.
That's right.
I think the real conversation that we're going to start getting to in the second half of this year is less about what the rest of 2023 looks like, and start priming what 24 and 25 look like for people. Because this story of this year is almost already all been told, because if the Fed does make their rate hike in July and then they say it's a quit, and they say we're going to have no more, then 2023 is pretty much in the bag. And then we just have to start looking at 2024.
Yeah.
Yep. So
that's awesome.
All right. Any final thoughts, guys?
No, this is just new normal. It seems to be abnormal, but who knows?
Yeah, the new abnormal.
Everything just it adjusts. One of the things we do that I believe in is you always have to become like a chameleon. You have to learn to adjust, to your environment. You have to be open-minded, right? Because this is a mental a mindset that we go through when these challenges come in life, and you're seeing these things and you're hearing all these things. You can't get caught up with all of that. Yep. I mean, one of the reasons why I don't watch the news is, one, I don't care what they say. It's all negativity. People get attracted to all the negativity.
Yep.
Here, we're not being negative. We're trying to help people understand the current market conditions, right? But it's all mindset. And it's just adapting to your new environment. What are we willing to put out there so that we can gain benefit from other things and be innovative?
Yep.
And that's where I'm at. It's we just got to be open-minded.
Yeah, good.
Like a podcast we heard this past week, just do the do.
Just do the do.
Just do the do. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys again for a good conversation. We're curious to know what you think about whether or not we're in the new normal, or we are not in the new normal, or is this the new abnormal? I'm thinking it's the new abnormal. That's going to be my final thought for today. It's the new abnormal. Leave your comments below, and be sure to subscribe to the show if you haven't already. And you'll find us every single week on your favorite podcast platform or on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching the show. We'll see you again next week.
Bye, guys.
Cheers.